So if you're buying a new home in Rhode Island, one of the things that you're going to want to do in the process is get a home inspection. So in this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know when it comes to your home inspection. Hey there, my name is Jess Powers and I'm with eXp Realty here in Rhode Island, and I want to share with you everything you need to know when it comes to getting a home inspection, because that's one of the important parts, right? If you're buying a home, you want to make sure that this home is going to be a fit for you and your family, and it's going to be safe and you know what you're getting into. Because the last thing I want to happen to you is that you buy a home and shortly after moving in, everything starts falling apart, and now you're coming out of pocket for all kinds of expenses that you just weren't prepared for. And now your whole home buying experience is ruined. I don't want that. Now, I work with buyers and sellers all over Rhode Island, Southern Mass, and Connecticut. So send me a message and let's get started with your home search. I can't help you if I don't hear from you, and I absolutely love it. Now let's jump in and talk about home inspections. Here's what you need to know when it comes to your home inspection. So traditionally, when you're buying a home in Rhode Island, you're going to have an inspection period. By default, that period is 10 business days as it's written in our purchase contract. But it's going to vary based on market conditions. Now here in 2022, the market's been pretty crazy. It's been very competitive. So a lot of times you may even find buyers who might be willing to buy a home without an inspection. And that can be a little bit scary. Maybe it makes you want to throw up. I think it really depends upon the house for that to even be a consideration. And it's just, frankly, it's just not something that a lot of first-time home buyers would be willing to do. Now, one option, instead of waiving a home inspection, if we want to talk about being competitive, is to reduce that inspection period to 5 business days. Or maybe we can see if we can get an inspector to go through the house before offers are due. I mean, once you've found a house, we're going to talk through all of your options and see what best suits your needs based upon each specific house. Okay, so let's talk about the inspection itself. So the inspection is really, it's to look at the key components of the house. That would be the HVAC system, your heater and your AC. We want to look at the plumbing, the electrical system, the roof, the foundation, the heating system, all those major components of the house. We also want to look for any health and safety things. For example, we want to make sure we don't have any unsafe electrical wiring and that we don't have any plumbing that's dripping and causing mold. Those are the things that we're looking for. Now, an inspector is going to note everything they find. The inspectors, I recommend, they're going to give you a full report. There's going to be photos and full descriptions. You're not even going to need to take notes if you use one of the inspectors that I refer you to. That report is going to be really long. I'm talking 40 to 70 pages, depending on the home, because they're also going to note all the small little things, like there's a hole in the wall, there's scratches, or there's a broken seal on the window. All of those little things, those are typically cosmetic. And typically when you're buying a home, you're kind of taking the home as is when it comes to these small cosmetic things. But if the furnace is not working, well, that might be something that we can request a repair on from the seller. Or maybe the electrical panel is rusty. That's actually something that I see pretty frequently, even yesterday at a home inspection I had, because the putty on the outside of the electrical meter wears out. And then over time, small bits of water actually gets inside of the panel. Those aren't things that typical homeowners that they check on. People just don't open up their electrical panel. Some of them don't even know where their panel is, so they don't know that it's about to be ruined. So items like that we aren't able to see when we walk through the property, those might be something that we could request from the seller, that they repair or that they give a credit. But the smaller little things, those cosmetic things, most of the time you're just going to kind of take those things as is, because you should have seen them upon walking through the house. Let's talk about common issues I see in our homes in our area. So we've got really older housing stock in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and even Connecticut. If you're buying a really old, a historic home, there are likely to be things like beams in the foundation or the sills that have termite or powder post beetle damage. I automatically look for that, especially in really old homes. You know, our older homes, they've got multi-generational electrical systems, meaning if you buy a home that's pre-1940s, you may have 3 different generations of wiring, including the first generation of wiring called knob and tube. We've also got a lot of steam radiators for heat, and the plumbing for those systems typically were insulated with pipes wrapped in asbestos. Yep. We also regularly see a lot of cast iron plumbing stacks. This is the pipe system that the wastewater and sewage flow into to be expelled into the sewer line below your house. Now again, if you're buying a home that used cast iron before PVC, which wasn't really actually standard until 1972, those cast iron stacks, well, they're all nearly past their expected use, and they will need to be replaced. Some of these items I can identify for you when we tour a home together. I can help you to learn about these things so that you've got some idea what to consider when deciding if you want to make an offer on a house. All right, let's go back to talking about the home inspector. Now, this inspector, when they come out, you need to understand they're general home inspectors. They're literally roof, foundation, plumbing, electrical. They're looking at the whole entire house. They're a generalist. They're not specialists. So what will happen is a lot of time is the home will come out and they'll tell you, hey, we need to look at this electrical. This doesn't appear to be wired right. I recommend you have an electrician come out. Hey, the roof is older and it might be leaking. Let's get a roofer out here to come get a quote for the repair or the replacement. So now you go from a generalist to having a specialist come out. This way you can actually attach numbers to what it's actually going to cost to complete the repair that's required for whatever that may be. And then you can make a decision about whether or not it's the right house for you. And this is something I help my clients do. I get you connected with all the specialists that you need because again, we need to know exactly what you're looking at. We're trying to do as much as we can to eliminate any surprises. Now, once you know these numbers, you're going to have a few choices on what you could do. But remember, this all happens within those 10 business days or whatever you've negotiated as your inspection period. The inspection and any negotiations, they all have to happen within that contingency period. The timing is really important. Now, number one, maybe there were too many surprises that came up during the inspection and you've decided it's just not the right house. No negotiations would make it, you don't want to buy the house. In this case, since we've got the contingency period, we can terminate that contract and get your full deposit back. You're out the amount for the inspection, but if it's not the right house for you, then consider it money well spent. Now, option number two, just understand this is what I'm buying and then take it as it is. You're going to know, hey, I'm buying this house. Here are all the problems. These are the things I'm gonna have to do over the next few years. This is what it's gonna cost me. You're okay with it, and you move forward with the purchase. The other option is you could request repairs. So you could request from the seller, hey, we want you to fix this and this and this and this. Hopefully it's not too long of a list. It's all negotiable at this point, and there are no guarantees. The seller has absolutely no obligation to make any of those repairs. It is all in negotiation, so you've got to decide what you want to request. Now, they can come back, whatever they want. They can say, we'll do all of them, or we'll do none of them, or we'll meet you in the middle. But at the end of the day, whatever that decision is, you decide, do you want to move forward or do you not want to move forward with this? Or they could come back with option number 4, which is to lower the purchase price or offer a credit in lieu of repairs. So that means rather than the seller actually completing those repairs, they just give you a credit towards your closing costs, saving you the money on your closing costs because changing the down payment isn't going to make that much of a difference. So then you have the money to be able to make those repairs after it closes. Now, I'm personally actually a fan of this option in particular. What I've found in my nearly 10 years of experience is that when I'm representing a buyer and we ask the seller to make repairs, the seller is going to do it as cheaply as possible. And often the buyer just really isn't ever satisfied with those repairs. So I found the best is to try and negotiate a credit. That way, after the property closes, you can hire the contractor that you choose. You can do the repairs and make sure it's somebody that you know, like, and trust, and that you're going to be satisfied with the work, and that it'll have a warranty to protect you moving forward. All right, so your key takeaway is that you've got to talk through your inspection report and consider all the options. I'm going to help you to make those decisions and figure out what works best for you. So those are the things in general that you want to know when it comes to the inspection. One other thing that I really want you to consider is to get a home warranty, which can really help you out. So even if you get a home inspection done and everything looks good, you know, you're still going to have issues in the house. Like in my house, the refrigerator had an issue. It was fine at the inspection, worked great. And then 2 weeks after we bought the house, after we moved in, it quit working. And again, there was no issue with the home inspection. It just wasn't something that caught. It blew out one of the motors. We had to make that repair. Well, we were able to use our home warranty, and what that did is it covered, I had paid for it for the first year, and if it was just an issue that occurs, then you just pay your deductible. That's around, I can't remember what it was, $50 or $100, and they completely covered the cost of that repair. And if they couldn't have repaired it, they would have completely replaced that refrigerator. For some reason, they're not that popular up here in the Northeast, but it's something I really encourage all of my clients to look into because it can be a really smart safety net and give you just that little bit of peace of mind, also save you a bunch of money. All right, now comment below and let me know if this was helpful, and if you'd be interested in a home inspection checklist, well, I got one. Just send me an email and I'll send it to you. And if you're ready to start your home buying search, well, I'm Jess Powers and I'm here to help, but first, you've got to reach out.